So that was something that really worried me a lot. Was about the welfare of my children. So it is something that was really tormenting me, because my children never suffered during the period before all this difficult period came to me.
My brother, I see your tears, I see your pain. Tell me, have you...
Switch off, please. Switch off, please.
Welcome back to our conversation with Job Sikhala. We hope you enjoy part 2 of this powerful conversation. You say in your letter, your letters, I think, are going to be a subject of study in history one day. You say in your letter, and I quote, "If David Coltert and Hopewell Chinono failed to execute the mandate I gave them, my wife knows what to do when push comes to shove."
Yes.
What is that in reference to?
No, it was in reference that, you know what, there is nothing that pains you a lot. Let me be frank with you. When you are a parent, you always desire good things for your children. The most thing that was touching me, when I was in prison, my brother Trevor, was the welfare of my children. Were they going to be able to go to school? Were my children going to be able to get breakfast? It touched me a lot.
Yeah.
So I had to tell my wife to say, "My darling, when things come, when the push comes to shove, I ask you to sell all our houses, sell all our cars, go to the village and sell some cattle that we have there for the sustenance of our family." So that was something that really worried me a lot. Was about the welfare of my children. So it is something that was really tormenting me, because my children never suffered during the period before all this difficult period came to me.
My brother, I see your tears, I see your pain. Tell me, have you...
Switch off, please. Switch off, please.
Shall we continue?
Yeah, we can continue.
Okay. You know, I was in police prison for 2 nights. You were in police prison detention for 595 days. When I got out, those 2 nights, that doesn't compare with the torture that you've been. I was very clear in my mind that they had actually strengthened my resolve, that I was right in doing what I was going to do. I asked myself the question, do I forgive them and move on? It took time for me to forgive Robert Mugabe and the Central Intelligence and so forth. Where are you now as far as forgiveness is concerned? Are you there yet, or is it something that you're still processing?
Greatness is not found by being retributive. There are many people whom we have also sinned against in life, and I would not wish them to be retributive to me. So whatever has happened for a purpose. And if I'm not going to forgive those people who have persecuted me to the extent of how I have gone through it, then no nation would grow and develop through the politics of retribution.
So
frankly speaking,
yeah,
I have forgotten about this. I have not only forgiven those people who have persecuted me, but they have embodied and strengthened me to realize that I am fighting for a just cause on the basis that I don't want any other person to go through what I've gone through in a free and democratic society. Our country needs leadership that is a heart for its people. We cannot always be the people where we persecute each other. It has given me the resolve to fight with extraordinary determination to make sure that our country is completely freed, that we bring freedom and the happiness of our people as the major priorities in this country. It has embodied me. And like what I earlier told you, my brother Trevor, I'm so hardened. Nothing will shake me. I will not be moved by anything that will come on my way. I have seen the most difficult period of my life. During the period, it's not easy to stay 595 days in solitary confinement, where they deploy the prison security around you, listening to your conversation, seeing every step that you take, being monitored every time. They thought maybe this mental torture will cause to my mental breakdown. It did not deliver that result. Rather, it strengthened me. Not only strengthened me, but hardened me.
So what are your reflections vis-a-vis, I think the crimes of Robert Ncube and Mnangagwa pile up, but what's been the responsibility of the opposition? How do we move from where we are?
That is where I say that I had a very strong reflection.
Yeah. And what's the result of your reflection?
Why have we failed from 1999 up to present for us to bring freedom and change to the people of Zimbabwe? I noticed that political leaders, we have been selfish. We did not allow the owners of a mass democratic struggle to be the spearheaders and the proprietors of the destiny of this country. As long as I think that I am the Moses or the Joshua who will take the people to the promised land, without the contribution of the people. That's why Jethro had to tell Moses, his son-in-law, saying, this whole pile of work,
you need an assistant.
You need assistance. He had to appoint a lot of men elders from the Israelites for them to be the council of his advisors on how he was going to manage the affairs of the Israelites. So as long as what I have discovered is, we have to go to the basic. Let's go back to the people to say, we tried. We did not fail. But it was on the basis that we didn't understand and know that you are the owners of the destiny of this country.
Why not, I'll hold you there. What's wrong with saying, we tried, we failed? Let's redo this thing again. I think that's the problem. I'm going to push back on that. Because that's the problem of failing to own up to failure. You're all human beings. And I think people will receive you in a much more understanding manner when you concede to your mistakes. MDCT, MDC and MDC 99 on your side, CCC, whatever. Can we be truthful and face up to the fact that mistakes have been made? Then people are going to say, you're human after all. Because owning up to your mistakes is humility. But this thing that we didn't make mistakes, we didn't understand. So I'm pushing back on that. What's your response?
Generally, my own analysis and reflection did not focus on the failure, but was focusing on saying, I've sacrificed so much for the freedom of our people in Zimbabwe. I've done so much. I have tried. What each and every Zimbabwean, the question that I am asking is, what have I done? What contribution did I give
For each Zimbabwean.
for the cause
Yeah.
of freedom to Zimbabwe? My brother Trevor, I want you, when you go back home today, to reflect and say, what have I done to contribute to the fight for the freedom of our people? There are many people who enjoy to be critics.
Can I answer you on what I've done?
Yes.
I participated in trying to build up a movement with Simba Makoni, who Zimbabweans rejected. Participated in trying to build a movement around Nkosana Moyo, who Zimbabweans rejected. I've refused to participate in giving Zimbabweans a leadership that is not principled, that is not accountable, that doesn't respect their own constitutions, which is why for me, Job, for you guys to come to a point of saying, we tried, we failed, maybe somebody needs to go on. If that's not the case, then you say, we tried, we failed. This is where we're going to perfect things. Because it's like the same team of 11 people being beaten 3-0 all the time and still wanting to continue. Where are you going to change?
No, the prescription that you are giving me, my brother Trevor, is a wrong prescription.
Okay.
The moment when we individualize the mass democratic struggle for people, we completely do it wrong. That's why you realize that your approach of trying to coalesce around Simba Makoni or to coalesce around Dr. Nkosana Moyo was completely a wrong concept altogether. Individuals do not make change.
I agree with you.
But masses do make change.
But that's
we
been
have
a
to go
mistake.
back. No, we have to go back to the people. Because when we are involved in a struggle, we are doing it for the purpose of the poor and the downtrodden. We have to go back to the people and ask them, where have we gone wrong in our mass democratic struggle in this country for the past 3 decades? What do you think we should do? Give us how we should tackle the challenges that we've been facing for all these 3 decades when we were in trenches. Then the people will give us what should be exactly be done. The moment when we go to the people with these prescriptions and with a leader in our hands, we are doing absolutely wrong.
I like that.
So the process that I pronounced on Thursday, the 80th of February, 2024 at Sapis Trust is a completely different approach to the politics of today.
So you're going to the people without a leader.
There is no leader. It's not even a political party. I don't know. People misinterpret or they did not understand the concept.
So you make it clear now. Let's
Yes.
make that concept clear.
Yes.
What is the concept?
Yes, the concept is that.
Or rather, let's take a break because that's important. We'll take a break here.
Thank you.
When we come back, Job is going to drill down into what the concept is, into moving Zimbabwean opposition into a different space. So see you on the other side.
We were now giving them prescription rather than for them to give us prescription.
Greetings. My name is Trevor Ncube, host of In Conversation with Trevor, Zimbabwe's most engaging conversational show. I go beyond the headlines and beyond the sensational. We've brought before your screens change makers from arts, business, and politics, and from the region. Please join our growing community of viewers. Subscribe, like, and share. Welcome back to our conversation with Job Sikhala, Zimbabwe Opposition Politician. So when we took a break, Job, you were getting into clarifying to us the announcement that you made on the 8th of February at Sapis Trust. What's the intention? What are you trying to do?
Like what you earlier asked me.
Yeah.
That what was my reflection while I was in prison about where our struggle faltered along the way for almost 3 decades now, while we've been in the trenches. Where did we go wrong?
Yeah.
In my own reflection, I noticed that we were now the originators of the vision and the agenda for the people, rather than having the masses of our people being the setters of the agenda. We completely divorced from giving our people and the citizens of our country an opportunity to shape the way how the struggle must be prosecuted. We were now giving them prescription rather than for them to give us prescription. So we are taking the agenda back to the people for them to set the national agenda for themselves. We are going back with all major constituency stakeholders in this country. Who matters in terms of state governance? These are the general masses of our people, civic society, labor, students, corporate business, churches, people living with disabilities. We are talking about progressive political organizations. You know, that's where we need even the people whom you suggested in this house, that you tried to bring them to the people, but the people of Zimbabwe rejected them. We want the Dr. Nkosana Moyos and the Dr. Simbama Kones to be part and parcel of this national process.
When you say we, who is that?
No,
is Job Sikhala and who else?
No. The moment when you identify, I am only the facilitator of an idea.
Okay.
When I say we, this thing is owned
with
by
the people.
Yeah, with
with
the people. Yeah, with the people.
Okay.
It is an idea. I'm just a facilitator to an idea. Where I think we must take the way forward of our people back to them, the authors and the originators of the mass democratic struggle in any country. You understand that even during the period of our liberation struggle, without the masses' input on how they were going to contribute to the liberation of this country, we could not have gone anywhere. But the masses owned the liberation struggle to be their own. That's why they were able to keep guerrillas in their homes. That's why they were able to feed them. That's why they were able to clothe them on the basis that they were now carrying the burden of the struggle for their own liberation. We want to take this idea back to the people with all these major stakeholders that I have mentioned to you, and ask the people right directly from the village level. We are dispatching teams from these major stakeholders right down to the ground for them to go and have what are called democratic consultative conventions, where people will gather at each and every village, at each and every ward, at each and every district, and each and every province, for them to chart the way forward for Zimbabwe. These are the people who are going to give us the way forward. Whether they will say the way forward is in us forming a mass broad democratic movement is their own issue. And also the other issue where people are mistaken is they look at individuals as if an originator of an idea wants to be a beneficiary. The truth of the matter is that I don't have any ambition for me to be the leader of any organization. I am not even having the ambitions for me to be the leader of whatever will be the outcome of the consultative process.
Tell me.
My brother Trevor Ncube, the people might say at the National People's Democratic Convention, because what we are saying is that when this process is taking place at a ward level, each and every ward in Zimbabwe, out of the 1,970 wards, should elect one delegate who will come and confirm that the evidence that has been collected and coalesced by the National Democratic Taskforce is what they have said during the period of the consultative process. So there will be a National Democratic Convention, People's Convention, that will be held after this whole process has taken place.
This is
so
a very...
it will have delegates of between 2,000 to 2,100 calculated in terms of the number of wards that we have and the number of districts. Delegates will be also elected during this process and also at the presidential level. This National Democratic People's Convention is the one that will speak out of what should be done next in this country.
Tell me, that's a very involved and intricate process, and I think it sounds like a democratic process which is going to take time. Does that include the people that are around Nelson Chamisa? Does it carry them? Are they part of this democratic process that you're talking about?
This is the democratic process for everyone, including you, my brother, Trevor Ncube. I want you to be part and parcel of this process. This is a process for every Zimbabwean. Let's go.
So we are all going in there, Trevor and Job, and we don't have a leader.
We don't have a leader. I'm not even going to be a member of the National Democratic Taskforce. It is going to be constituted by people who have been already seconded by these people from these different constituency bodies. I was being briefed today that so far 20 organizations have already seconded their persons and seconded persons from their own organization to constitute the National Democratic Taskforce that will now start the work and the ball rolling. So what they will do is that they will have their own implementation and working plan on when they are going to start on the ground and moving to go and solicit the ideas of the people of Zimbabwe on how we should prosecute the mass democratic struggle to the next decisive phase in the history of our country.
Do you have a timeline? Are you aiming for the next election, or that's a secret that you can't disclose at the moment?
What will happen? It will be up to the National Democratic Task Force on how they want it. They want to. I've just sold an idea.
Yeah,
I'm not even the leader of it. The leaders will be those who will be in the National Democratic Task Force, and these are the people who should decide on when we should complete the process. But definitely, the process is laborious. It's going to be meticulous. We don't want shortcuts. We don't want to be on the pedestal of declarations. No, we want this thing to be done properly. And the National Democratic People's Convention that will be held thereafter the entire consultative process is the one that shall give the people of Zimbabwe the way forward.
So help me understand this. We the people,
sure.
Reading it that way,
yes.
You are drawing the line in the sand and you're saying what happened in the past is behind us. We have learnt the lessons.
Yes.
We're now going to the people without titles, without a political party, to consult the people as to what they want us to do. There is no Job Sikhala, deputy chairman of former CCC. There is no Nelson Chamisa. Is that my understanding?
That's extremely, you're 100%.
So we are all
correct.
getting in as citizens.
As citizens.
Let's sit around the room.
Yes.
And as all citizens from Plumtree to Buhera.
Yes.
That's what you say.
That is what we say. That all citizens from Border Nyamapanda to Plumtree, from Forbes Water to Victoria Falls, from Bidebridge to Chirundo Border Post, sit down under the trees with with those people who are going to be despised by the National Democratic Task Force. Talk about your country. Give your country the way forward. Own the process. Own the struggle. It's yours. And the people must understand that also one important thing that I learned in prison was on how leadership. One of the most important books that I read was on servant leadership by Stevenson. This book spoke on how we leaders should be able to accept ourselves, that the burden that we carry, we should never carry it for selfish ends, but for the common interest of the people. And I have been so persuaded by the by the concept of a leader among equals, primus inter pares, where all you are a leader among equals in an organization. And this is one concept that has been used even during the period of the liberation struggle, where the super sender was not an organ of was not an organ of an organization, was not an individual, was not some other organ in an organization, but it was the general masses of the people, where the sender, the super sender of an organization resides, is what will determine on how leadership, how collectively the people are going to have a buy into an idea. So we need the collective wisdom of each and every Zimbabwean, no matter how downtrodden, how poor that person is. These are the people who are important to be the appropriators of the destiny of their country.
So let's also be clear on something. Is there an admission then that saying there shouldn't be any political structures was a mistake? There shouldn't be a party constitution was a mistake? That strategic ambiguity was a mistake? Are we conceding and drawing the line and moving forward? Or you are leaving it vague and not clear? What's the position?
This is exactly what we should do, leave to the people to go and tell us. Was it correct? All things that we have raised, the people must tell us whether it was correct or it was incorrect for us to pursue that road. And that those solutions, my brother Trevor, will definitely come out. The people will say, where did we go wrong? Was it wrong to have a structureless organization or what? Let the people speak out. Never again in our struggle should we impose prescriptions to the people. Let the people own the struggle, not us as leaders. We must be servants of what people want the organizations to be run or where the destiny of the country should be taken. Never should we pull people to be our own wagon, rather than for them to be the owners of the whole entire process.
But surely, I hear that, and I'm all for the people giving guidance. What role does people, as somebody like you, in a convener kind of role, the person who's come up with an idea in terms of drawing a draft of some sort that shows the roadmap and provides guidance in terms of what are the possible ideological underpinnings of what you're trying to come up with, what are the structures to start the conversation? Is there any thinking around that?
No, like what I said, this thing has been so easy to constitute, on who the National Democratic Taskforce is. Organizations simply from business have seconded their persons into the National Democratic Taskforce. Labor has seconded persons into the National Democratic Taskforce. People living with disabilities have seconded a person from their constituency. Students have seconded people from them. So the National Democratic Taskforce is now already complete. Already 20 people from 20 different organizations have already now seconded their persons. Myself, I will be an observer of the whole entire process. I don't want to interfere. I have sold the idea. What they have done now is that they have taken that statement, broken it down into an implementation and a working document.
Okay.
So the working document and on how this process is going to be done, that's where now we also need technical expertise from extremely sharp brains for them to break that concept which I brought and to bring it to implementation. And believe me, my brother Trevor, the implementation is going to be done. This thing interests so many people. people want to be involved in, in something that they will have ownership on. We want the people of Zimbabwe to own the next phase of our democratic struggle. If they don't own it, we are going to fall into the same pit of a merry-go-round. We will not be able to take the Zimbabwe anyway. So this is the truth that I'm telling you.
Tell me, you have, as we round up, you have spoken about those 17 hours of reflection in prison, where you have noticed certain mistakes that were made by the opposition over the past 3 decades. When it comes to Job Sikhala, the man, when you look back, are there things that you did that you regret and you'd say, I should not have done this as a politician?
Very correct.
I'll tell you what, I'll help you, because before you went into prison, I read a statement, and I said to myself, why did my brother say this? 2023, to take the fight to the doorstep of Emmerson Mnangagwa, we are going to overthrow before 2023. This is not a joke. The responsibility that leaders such as you have in ensuring that you don't make inflammatory statements, that you lead by example, that you don't use the tools of your oppressors or the language of your oppressors to whip up emotions. Have you learned anything from that?
No, the thing that we must understand is that there are certain, when you are involved and entrenched in a struggle for a long time, frustrations emerge. You become so disappointed to say, I have spent all my youthhood in this struggle. I've taken all my life in this struggle, but we are not reaching the destiny. Why are we, where do we go wrong? But basically, I totally agree with you, my brothers. Sometimes some of the statements we say on the public, especially a person like me, where people will take my word maybe as biblical a commandment, I must be extremely cautious next time to say some of these statements might even inflame serious civil uprising that you would engulf our nation in flames. So some of these things during the period of my thorough reading, because to tell you the truth, I've gone through many political literature in prison. I read immensely. Sometimes the modus operandi and our approach to different challenges in our country must have a modicum of competition of ideas. We must defeat others in terms of ideas. We must be able to be, for example, in this room, having all those people with different ideas, you being the moderator, my oppressors seated there, others seated there, you moderate and ask us, what is your vision for this country? People must have a buy-in into a vision.
Persuade them by the power of your arguments.
In terms of, by the power of your arguments in terms of the ideas.
Yeah.
That's why you realize that when I brought this idea, no one comes to attack it in terms of content. They are attacking the person of Job Sikhala. But like what I told you, as a hardened person of conscience, I don't care. I no longer get moved by all those small little hyper attacks from the cyberspace.
My concern, Job, and I would want to get your view on this, is that the group of you were part of student politics and ZINASU, and all that student politics. And my sense is that it has taken time for you guys to graduate into mature politics.
Yeah.
You have remained as student activists who get excited by inflammatory statements and so forth. Has there been growth from you and the people that are around there?
No.
Or are we going to continue to be subjected to student activism in national politics?
No, I think that is a wrong view and a perception. Our backgrounds in life shape the way how we approach to problems. It is not true that we have not been able to grow into alternative national leaders because we came from the student body. I also remember my brother Trevor. You were the vice president of the SRC at UZ.
Yes, sir.
But when I'm talking to you, I'm realizing that I'm talking to a sophisticated mind. I'm talking to somebody with great ideas. What caused you to graduate to where you are today in terms of your thought process and everything? You must also know and understand this is the process all of us take.
Okay.
So don't also underestimate our capabilities to have grown to both the domestic and international leaders who can contribute to the challenges of our country and the international world at large.
Well, you know
Just
what
like what you did.
Absolutely.
Do you know the impact that you have made, in terms, especially in terms when you were running the mail in Kaitin, when you are running the largest media empire in Zimbabwe. That is absolute great achievement.
I thank you for that. But you know, and I hear you, but my concern does not come from denying that you have grown. My concern comes from when I see you as politicians take up the podium and continue to talk the way I used to talk when I was a student activist. And I'm like, well, what's happened? Why are we not growing? But anyway, being that the case, let me ask you the final question here. I'm being told that we should round up. Ideologically, what kind of a future are we looking at? I know you're saying this thing is going to take its shape and so forth. Well, what are the underpinnings?
No, ideologically, we believe that Zimbabwe is a country endowed with much wealth and resources. They've been confined in the hands of the few. While very few continue to reap and eat, you know, the hand of our nation, the majority are suffering in poverty. We want a society built around a social democratic concept, like the ANC, like many other progressive organizations in the world. If you go to Scandinavian countries, in Norway, in Sweden, even in France, they have got a social, a democratic concept in everything that they do. We want now the national cake and the national wealth to cascade to the poor and the downtrodden, who have been excluded in the share of the national economy. We now our economy not to be consumed only by the elite. We want also the national resources to be shared by the poor and the downtrodden. You know, our education sector is in complete collapse. Our hospitals are in complete collapse. But when you compare the collapse of our hospitals, our education sector, our roads network, everything in the country, you know, I was shocked just when I was being driven here. To see potholes in Highlands. Yeah.
Greyston Park.
Yes, Greyston Park. I was shocked. You know, in the 21st century. But if you would compare the wealth which other people are flaunting in this country, vis-a-vis the poverty and also the infrastructural degradation in our country, it's not commensurate.
No, it isn't.
Let's go back to the concept, to the basics. Let's have the national cake being put there and see how our nation.
So we're talking of constitutionality.
Yes, correct.
Rule of law.
Correct.
A free press.
Correct.
Freedom of expression.
The happiness of our people, for them to be able to decide and do whatever they want with their lives. where democratic values will run everything in the nation, where we will not be able to have individuals who should dictate how people must behave in their country. People must be happy in this country.
Fantastic. I look forward to the unrolling of this organization that you've facilitated.
Yes.
To use the right word. Otherwise, we get into trouble here. Job, you've been reading a lot in prison. I would love our viewers out there to benefit some of the books that you've read. What 3 books that you've read in prison that have really stirred up your powers of imagination, that have shaped the journey that you are now wanting to embark on?
Yeah.
Just 3 books.
Yeah, the first one is, I would urge the audience today to look for the book called The Wolf Catcher, written by Claire Rocca Brown, on how Najib Razak's regime in Malaysia plundered the national economy of that country using the National Sovereign Wealth Fund, where the surrogates around him and his children and friends.
I know where you're going.
looted that country.
Yeah.
And they looted the National Sovereign Wealth Fund by externalizing it to offshore accounts in the British Virgin Islands, on how Ibrahim Anwar was thrown into prison on frivolous charges twice. Firstly, 5 years in prison for fictitious Sodom charges. And then when the 2013 elections were about to take place, they took him again back to prison. And until the moment when the old horse, Mohammed Mahathir, he had to be in alliance with the wife of Ibrahim Anwar and his daughter to deal decisively with Rajib Nasaki and overthrow him from power. As we speak today, Najib Razak is in prison, he's inside.
Billions of dollars.
Billions of dollars, 7 billion at one time, being siphoned to a bank in Singapore. It was absolutely shocking.
National wealth fund being pillaged.
Fleeced and pillaged. Yeah. And his wife Rosma, wearing necklaces and bracelets costing $28 million. When they were arrested during the day when they lost the elections, $128 million of cash was found in their stashed in the house which they took all the money into. Rosma seated at them. $128 million.
That sounds like a book we should all read. Next book?
Yes, the next book, I think, is to read Thompson's book on the biography of Nelson Mandela.
Okay.
The difficulties the man went through. When he was thrown also into a solitary confinement. The way that was done to me. And unfortunately, Nelson Mandela was using a pocket toilet where he would leave himself in the bucket. When he wakes up in the morning, he will take that bucket to go and throw it away. Lucky enough, in my single cell there was a bathroom inside it. So better that I was able to relieve myself into that 2.5 meter by Twiggle. Then there is another book.
The third book.
The third book written by Martin Meredith.
Meredith, yeah.
Africa.
Yes.
50 years.
Yes, I've got it upstairs.
It's something else. I think you've gone through it. If you read that book, we will really be able to understand.
I have read the book.
How to deal with our leaders in Africa. When after reading that book, I had tears in my eyes to say, Africa, God must be with us.
Job.
Thank you very much. Thank you
your 595 days
in
incarceration cannot be justified by any normal human being. And for me, sitting down with you here is such an honor and such a pleasure. I hope you are in good health, and that spiritually you remain strong, that emotionally you remain strong. I wish you all the very best in your political career.
Thank you very much, my brother Trevor. It has been a pleasure to be with you today.
Wonderful.
May God bless you.
Thank you, Sam. To you,
Thank
allow
you.
me to address our viewers who are all over the world to say thank you so much for watching In Conversation with Trevor. Remember, we are a weekly show. We are out every Monday, 7 a.m. Central African Time. And to ensure that you don't miss out on any of these quality conversations, I invite you to subscribe, to like, and to share. We've gone a step further and created a website where all our content sits for your viewing and listening pleasure. We've got podcasts there. You go onto our website, click onto the podcast for your listening pleasure. Thank you so much for your support. Cheers.